Okay, guys, I want to tell you something. I'm sorry, but I don't think I will be able to continue with this forum because, as you can see, I'm exhausted. I have so much on my desk, so much to do that I have to. I'm going to Israel too in a week. So in Israel, it's going to be headlong. I mean, it's going to be very difficult because I've not been there for 5 years. So everybody and his uncle wants a piece of me. So we will renew it as soon as I get back to the United States and I catch my breath, which is really very difficult. So let's see what we use this day today to the most important parts of the meeting. I would like to tell you that these Sundays were devoted mostly for me, to the theory. What does trust really mean? What does really respect really mean? From different disciplines, etc. But some of you are interested in applications. That's why last time when I could not attend, you asked Yoram to tell you about the syntax and the application of how does the methodology work in real life. So let me ask you, what would you like me to do today so that you can get the maximum out of this an hour and a half before we resume again probably in January? Do you want to continue with the theory? And the theory means continue discussing Henry's reaction to Nebojsa's paper, Nebojsa's reaction to Francesca's paper, or was it Yoram to Francesca? Anyway, we have several items that are still hanging in the air that could be discussed in depth. Or do you want me just to tell you how the methodology works in reality? So let's have what would any one of you like? So let me start going around the room. I'll start with Francesca. What would you like to do this hour and a half?
I would prefer to discuss between us. I don't. For me, it's not necessary to go through the theory. I prefer to discuss amongst us, if it's possible.
Us to discuss what?
I prefer to. I don't need the theory. Not that I don't need, but I follow your lecture. I read your book. So I prefer to discuss between us, okay?
Okay, next, Michael Brueggerman.
The same, I'm with Francesca.
Henry.
Either way.
Okay, Michael Steiner.
So two things. First of all, it's good to see you back. I want to also give you a little bit feedback, if you allow me, on stopping the group. I think when you were not here and the group continued, Henry did wonderful, Henry and Yoram, in fact, did wonderful job of continuing your discussions. So maybe consider not stopping the group, but letting members such as Nebojsa, Henry, Yoram, and others, and Michael, take the group further until you renew. I'm with Francesca. I think the idea, and with others, continuing how your methodology, what you've done for decades, and I'm also among those who read you for many years. Your weekly, your videos have shaped many of us. Meeting you finally, the person behind the weekly, is an experience by itself. So the discussions take what you have written to a different level. The discussion, I think, is what Francesca is trying to say, is creating a new dimension for us. It's important. It's important that you participate in these discussions, but the discussions are a different dimension. It's kind of a new baby for you, Ichak. It's like, what have I created? And I've created another child. These are the discussions, I think. And so let the discussion take its own life.
Michael, I thank you for saying that. I was going to say it and I forgot. Please continue. And I'm asking you have a person that knows the practice very, 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 very well. The boy has been practicing Adizes clinically for many years. You have Yoram, who was a client, so he saw it from a client point of view. And so I think it would be excellent for you guys to continue to discuss the theory and application, And what I would ask Neboisha is to record it, Neboisha. You be the administrator, send everybody the Zoom to continue and record it. And then, Tamara will transcribe it and I will be able to follow you guys. As soon as I catch my breath, I'm not really feeling well, as you can see. I've been overworking. I mean, just too much is too much. Then I'll be able to get back. I hope I'll be able to be back in December. I go to Israel, and Israel is not going to be a vacation. You need a vacation after Israel. I mean, it is going to be very intense. I'm struggling with my schedule. It's going to be. So when I get back and I catch my breath, we'll get back together. In the meantime, you continue, transcribe, record it, transcribe it, and I will be following you. What would you like?
Ichak, give us feedback when you read the transcribes of the meetings. Give us feedback.
I don't promise that I'm going to read because I'm telling you overwhelmed. But if I do and I have something to record, I will. I want you to know that these Sundays are very dear to my heart. I'll tell you why. Because I have a group of people with whom I can debate things that I'm not clear about. And your questions and your disagreements stimulate me. That's why I believe the disagreements are very, very functional, because it stimulates the other thing to say, this is not what is yes. So it stimulates you to think about the yes. And I got a lot of insights from the 4 sessions we had together. And hopefully it will be appearing in my blogs in the future, because I really want to share it with the rest of the world, what I learned. So I'm going to be back. What do you want to do, Neboisha? No, Neboisha left. Your practice of theory.
I think that we can have a series of discussions.
To do today.
Okay. It starts today, and if we don't finish today, we can continue. That basically is looking at an interesting question. There are people that will tell you that they prefer not to do business with friends for whatever reasons. Each one has his own reasons. And other people will say that they prefer to do business with friends. Now, if you look at...
By the way, I don't have the earphones here, so you have to really be clear. What did you say, friends or friends?
Friends. Okay,
Friends.
now do you hear me better now?
Why is it? ¿Qué pasó aquí? I don't know this. It's not working. I don't know why. Sound system, technology. All right, go ahead. So, friends, go ahead.
So, what I think that we can have a couple of discussion, maybe starting today, maybe if we need more, that is looking at friendship through the glasses of PAEI and CAPI. What does it mean to be a friend on PAEI and CAPI? And if you can do that, eventually you will be able to address the question from a theoretical question, whether or not it's better to do business with friends or keep friendship out of business.
Good. I would suggest, what do you want to do this hour and a half? But let's be short, otherwise the whole an hour and a half will be just in the warm-up. Go ahead, Najma. Najma Mahu.
Yes, hi everyone. Sorry, I am sick and I cannot, speak. I am just listening because I have fever and I was not listening. What is your question?
The majority voted that we talk about application of the theory. So you go theory application. I will do that. I will do that.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
I will start. And each one of you, when you have a question on application, raise it. So I'm really here to lecture. I'm here to give feedback to your questions. The first question is working with friends. How does it apply to PAI and how does it apply to business? If you look at my map, and I hope you know my map, decision-making, implementation. In decision-making, I said both lead to conflict because for good decision-making, you need a complementary team. And by definition, complementary team means diversity. And by definition, diversity means conflict. We don't necessarily understand each other. I talk about communication, and I repeat, please study my book, Leading the Leaders. How to communicate with people who are different than you are will help your marriage, I promise you. So this is the left side. So how do you make it work? Make it work by having mutual respect. Respect means I accept your difference. I accept your right to think differently. You don't have to think like me. That's Immanuel Kant. The right that recognizes the sovereignty of the other person to think differently. That is called colleague. That's not a friend. That's a colleague. Colleague is somebody with whom you share information, you disagree, and you learn from each other. As I told you last time, when colleagues talk to each other, they talk with a lot of respect. In the faculty meeting, somebody will say, may I disagree respectfully with my learned colleague? You see how they deal with each other? Same thing in all professions. You deal with colleagues respectfully, otherwise the discussion becomes not professional, becomes just another one-upmanship and doesn't work. So what makes diversity of opinions, knowledge, judgment constructive is mutual respect. And mutual respect means the other party is your colleague. Comes from the Latin collegium, which means we arrive together. We did not start together, but through exchanging, we arrive together at the conclusion. On the right side, you have implementation. For implementation, what you need is not diversity of opinions. You need unity of interests. If I share your interest, I will implement the decision. If it does not impact my interest positively or not, at least not negatively, I will not cooperate. On the left side, you have collaboration. We labor together to create a decision. On the right side, you have cooperation, which means I cooperate in implementing a decision. And that will happen only if there is commonality of interest. So on the left side, you have mutual respect. On the right side, you have to trust that there is common interest. It's not proven, it has to be tested. Respect is a priori. I respect you, speak up. I want to see if I can learn from you. Trust, I have to see whether I really have a common interest. It has to be tested. That's why trust is necessary. So look at the map. I don't have a map for you to show you here. Decision making, diversity, PAI. Implementation, copy. Commonality of interest. Now we have PAI copy, diversity of styles, commonality of interest, conflict. Now we make it constructive. On the left side, you have mutual respect. On the right side, you have mutual trust. Otherwise, there will be no common interest. On the left side, you have communication, collaboration, collaborating to make a decision. On the right side, you have cooperation. We are cooperating and implementing a decision. On the left side, you have colleague. On the right side, you have a friend. A friend is somebody who shares your interests, not necessarily agrees with you, not necessarily agrees with you, but he's a friend. That's why a good friend will tell you, please allow me to tell you what I really think that other people don't tell you, because we are friends. I really share your interests. Your pain is my interest, my pain. That's why with a friend we say, I can turn my back to a friend. Why can you turn your back to your friend? Because he's not going to stab you. That's why he's a friend. Because stabbing him will be stabbing himself. He shares your interests. You are together in the same bag. There is a difference between colleague and friend for me. Colleague does not necessarily share your interests. He has an idea, you have an idea, you exchange ideas, you learn from each other. Thank you very much. A friend is somebody who shares your interests, and we together go for the same, and we trust each other. That's why a friend is somebody you trust. Otherwise, not a friend. A colleague you don't have to trust. You just learn from. Friend you have to trust. Now that brings me to the next question. Is working with friends. I wrote a blog a long time ago, how to work with family or with friends, business. Usually tendency is, which is a mistake, is to assume common interest a priori. A priori, you should have common respect. I respect you. You don't have to prove to me. I respect you. Tell me what you think. Down the road, I might say you're an idiot. I'm not going to learn from you anything. Don't waste my time. But I start with respect. Tell me. Tell me. I'm open-minded to listen to you. Trust. You should not do it a priori. And the mistake in family business, doing business with friends, is start a priori. He's my friend. He's my brother. You know, we can do business together. So what happens? Don't do all the due diligence upfront. They don't check it upfront. I'm claiming when you do business with family, you should check it more stringently, more in detail than you would do with a foreigner. Why? Because the damage of it not working is much higher than it not working with somebody you don't know. Somebody you don't know, it doesn't work, you lost money. No. But oh boy, when you lose a brother, when you lose a father, when you lose a friend, the pain is enormous. Because the damage is so enormous, you have to do more detailed negotiations, go all the details as if there is no trust, to be sure that you do not make a mistake later on. From my experience of 50 years, family businesses, businesses between friends, when they did not do the homework in detail, later on what happens? A fight is worse than ever. The worst fights are among brothers and sisters. The worst fights are in a family in a divorce. Because you know what? I used to love you, and now the love is not there. It turns into hate. It turns to be extremely painful. So, doing business with friends, be very careful. Do it, but to assume is not a friend. So do all the detailed work up front. Do all the testing before. I call it, do all your divorcing before you get married. Yoram.
Well, according to the infinite theory, that you have enough, you have infinite amount of energy, and you have to decide how much of it to spend internally versus externally.
Yes.
The ultimate success of a company is a company that its management has a common interest. Not how they talk, not if they like, not if they're a friend or not anything. They have common interest. That's one thing. And the second thing is that family is not friends. Anyone who ever got divorced will find out that his family may not be his friends. Anybody had fights with his children will find that family not always end up with friendship. I think that the issue is common interest. How to best to get your management team to coalesce on a common interest. It's not just the mission and the vision, but it's the common interest.
Try to be short, otherwise we'll never finish. I understand your question. Look, that's a different question. And you're right. And you go to the next step, which is your usual style, which I appreciate. First of all, I think we agree or don't agree what it is. That friends are people you trust. If you don't trust him, he's not a friend. A trust should be tested. Don't assume it. Just because he's a friend, I trust him. Oof. I've seen so many times it does not work. Not because he's manipulative, not because he's a bastard, but because he does have a different interest. And that interest develops over time too. We used to have a common interest. Not anymore. You know, I had a very good friend. We were very good friends until he got married. And now what happened? Sharshela Pam. Now he takes care of her, and now, you know what? She drives the show now. And now she drives the show, it's not necessarily the same self-interest. So interest changes over time. So you have to be constantly watching. Do we have a common interest? Now you're asking a new question. How do you build common interest? Which is really behind it is the question, how do you build mutual trust? Now, I want to tell you up front, this is my weak point. I developed for 50 years methodology how to build mutual respect. And Moshe and you know. This now let me go to the clinical part. So let me deal you with the clinical part. As I was a professor at the university, I realized I need to talk about teamwork. I tried to find out how to run meetings correctly. Because there is no teamwork without meetings. And I found out that meetings can be a painful experience. People jump into each other in the middle of a conversation, interrupt each other. One talks about A, the other one starts talking about Z, to C. Then the chairman takes over, and now the chairman is driving the whole thing. The people are frustrated. I found out that people in a committee meeting, they call it teamwork, but it's really a committee meeting, are frustrated. One committee meeting, and you're like a squeezed lemon. When I was a faculty member, I refused to belong to committees unless I'm the chairman. Because as the chairman, I was establishing rules of mutual trust and respect. Terrible. So I asked myself, how do I convert a meeting into a session? Teamwork session. How do I convert a committee into a team? Not every committee is a team. A team is based on mutual trust and respect. Committee is not necessarily. And I didn't have an answer. I looked at the literature, could not find anything. I found a lot of articles on control experiments in a laboratory, behavioral science, but how do you do it in real life? One day I was invited to lecture in Toronto. I arrived at 10 o'clock at night, just showing you something that you don't read, you don't learn only from books and not only from lectures, you learn from life. Experience, open your eyes, you learn from a tree, you learn from a stone. As a matter of fact, my lifestyle theory came from a stone. So I arrived at Toronto airport and the CEO met me. And on the way to the hotel, he says, Dr. Adizes, would you like to go to the let's call it to the welcome room, whatever it's called. It was 10 o'clock at night. I said, okay, welcome room with all the people from this company are going to listen to my lecture the next day. And I came into the room and I found out 4 tables, at every table, 4 people playing poker. And I said, what the hell is this? I don't play cards. I mean, to me, it's a waste of time. So I sat down to see what's going on. And I realized a lot of money is changing hands. Nobody's getting upset. As a matter of fact, at 1 o'clock in the morning, when the game was over, they were tapping each other on the shoulder, saying, let's get together again, let's play tomorrow. I said, what the hell happened? If I took these 4 vice presidents sitting around the table and give them a budget to agree how to split it between themselves, they'll probably kill each other. What is the difference between executive committee meetings and playing poker? Many answers. Or they like to play poker. Well, okay. No. I will tell you what I get an insight. I went to my room and I spent the whole night till the morning writing my first manual, how to run meetings. What was going on in the tennis, in the poker game? Rules. You divide it right to left, left to right, whatever. How many cards do you distribute? When somebody does something like this, he wants 2 more cards. Then who wins depends which cards you have. Every word has a meaning. There's a joke about Jewish poker. You know what Jewish poker is? Whatever hand I have, that's what wins. I mean, that's what you cannot play like that, right? And if somebody put a card up his sleeve and put it in the opportune time, he will not play with the guy anymore. What happened? He broke the rules. Aha, I say. There is no mutual trust and respect unless there are rules to follow. There are rules to follow. They're cultural, by the way. The rules are different in different countries. I did 52 countries, but I found out something which is universal. And I found out what are the rules that we have to follow in order for the meeting to be based on mutual trust and respect. So that's the first step, by the way. There are 4 things you have to do to build mutual respect. About trust, I'm still struggling. But here it is, the one. Rules of conduct. Number 1, and here I'm giving you now the Adizes methodology for running meetings. By the way, we have a book called Effective Meetings. You're welcome to read it. First rule is we start on time. Anybody that is late, don't ask for forgiveness. I don't want to hear explanation. Go and do push-ups, 1 push-up per minute, or pay a penalty which goes for donations. We could donate the money at the end of the year. In other words, there must be a penalty. And when you finish paying the penalty, whatever it is, we all clap hands. So it's not a punishment. We recognize that you live and you adhere and you respected the rules. Why no explanation? Because, oh, you have this explanation acceptable, that explanation not acceptable. What's acceptable, what's not acceptable? I don't want to hear it. You're late, pay your penalty, push up or pay money. And by the way, for women, we have executive push-ups, which means they just going to bend their knees 3 times and that's it. Good enough, they don't have to get on the floor. But you have to recognize that you broke the rules. Sometimes I get somebody, usually the P's that give me a hard time. They come late and they don't want to do the penalty. They even are upset. They said, I was selling. I was with a client. That's what we are here for. And you want me to stop the selling to come to this goddamn administrative bullshit meeting? He refuses to pay. Then I take my wallet out and I pay for him. That makes him calm down. Usually he will come be on time next time. Why? Why be on time? Because they show respect. My time is as important as you asshole. You know, why do you think that what you're doing is more important than what I'm doing? It's lack of respect. Be on time, period. And by the way, any of you, where somebody doesn't show on time, eventually upsets you, doesn't it? You sit there and you wait for somebody to come and you say, what the hell does he think? You know, that he's special. My time is as important as his time. Start on time, end on time. Why end on time? Because if you have something else after the meeting and you have to stay longer, where is your mind? Your mind is not in the meeting anymore. Your mind is at the next meeting you're supposed to go. I don't need your body here, my friend. I need your mind. So we stop on time. We stop on time. I don't care. Middle of a sentence. Yeah, 10 more minutes, we'll finish. No. Because I found out major mistakes are made mostly when you continue a meeting. Why? When you continue a meeting, the P goes up. There's time pressure. When P goes up, I goes down, judgment is lost. You will make mistakes because you're making a decision under pressure. And I said, stop. We're going to meet tomorrow. We're going to continue. Rome was not built in 1 day. This decision can wait another day, or 2 days or 3 days. Rules, start on time. End of time. Next rule. Have you realized when you attend a lecture that is very, very, very interesting? The more interesting, the less you hear. How can it be? It is very interesting, I hear a lot. Just the opposite, you hear much less. Why? Because the lecture is so interesting, you hear something that triggers your thinking, you stop listening to the lecturer. Who are you thinking to? Yourself, and you're processing the information. In the meantime, the lecturer continues speaking. You don't hear it. You come back, it's someone else already. You did not hear it. That's why in many divorces, they claim that the reason for divorce is lack of communication. You know why? They don't listen to each other. They love each other a lot. So at the slightest conflict, one starts talking very fast, the other one is doing what? Thinking what he already said or what he wants to say. He does not hear what the other party says. Then this guy comes back, this guy goes out to lunch. This guy comes back from lunch, this guy goes to lunch. 2 hours later, they did not hear each other at all. And now you can hear it in the divorce proceedings. You say that. I did not say that. Yes, you did say it. Next time I'm going to record you so you will see that you did say that. What happened? She did say it. You did not hear it. Why? Because you were busy listening to yourself. So in the Adizes methodology, when you finish talking, and the only person in the whole world who knows whether you finish talking or not is who? Who is the only person who knows that if you finished or not? You. Because look what it happens. If you ever gone to therapy, here's what happens in therapy. Who's a good therapist? You talk, then you stop. Then your eyes go to lunch, and you're quiet. A good therapist will not interfere. You'll be sitting there very quietly. Why? Whom are you listening to now when your eyes go up like this? You're listening to yourself.
Yep.
And then you come back and say, no, what I really wanted to say, because what happens when you listen to yourself? You're testing whether what you say is what you wanted to say. And many times what you wanted to say is not what you said. So you correct yourself. You go to lunch again, come back. And I also wanted to say, and by the way, what I meant to say, in some therapies, the therapist does not open his mouth the whole hour. What the hell am I paying you for? Giving you space to talk to yourself. So you're really checking yourself. So in Adizes methodology, when somebody says hard rules, anybody interrupts, pays penalty, push-ups, or pay. But you have to decide how much to pay. By the way, it's not the money. In a kibbutz, they don't have money. I made them pay with matches. I give everybody 10 matches, 20 matches. So when you run out of matches, you're out of this meeting. You're fired. So you have a limited amount of times you can violate the rules. It's not important. In some places, they don't want to do matches, so pull your ear. Pull your ear. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Acknowledge that you made a mistake. So the rule is, when you're speaking, nobody can interrupt you. Anybody interrupts you, penalty. You stop thinking, you stop talking. I tell people, the fact that he stopped talking does not mean he stopped talking. He's talking to himself now. Let him talk to himself. He continues. The only person who knows that he finished is him. Now, with some people like Yoram, he might be probably talking the whole hour, so you have to be very careful. So you have to, because it will take all the time. So you have to be careful. You have to say, don't repeat yourself, please. What else is there? Okay? So they talk. When they finish, they have to look to the right. By the way, everything I'm telling you took 50 years to develop. It sounds so fucking simple. 50 years, guys, of trial and error. Not to the left, to the right. Why not to the left? Pass the word to the person on the left. Pass the word to the first hand with the first person that wants to speak. No, to the first person on your right with his hand up. Why this? Let's go. Going to the left is natural. That's how the clock works. That's how we plant the seeds in the field. Okay, this is natural. I'm telling you to go to the right because it is not natural. That's exactly why. Because to go to the right, you have to be cautious that you really finished. Going to the left, you will do it while you're still thinking because it's natural. Going to the right, you have to get back from your dreams, from wherever the world you are, and say, yes, I finished. Pass it to the right. Pass it to the right with the first person his hand is up, not the first person that raises his hand. Why not? Who is the first person to raise his hand and want to speak? PAEI. If you know the methodology, tell me. Which style will immediately jump in and start talking? Hello? Guys,
I think
E. Type E. Type E. He has an idea he wants to share before he even knows what the idea is. They start sharing as they are talking. If they will interfere. So what you do is, the first hand on your right. Whoever raised his hand first is irrelevant. That's a mistake the chairmen of meetings do. They write down who is hand and they call it by them. The E's usually dominate the meeting. The A's are quiet, don't say a word. And after the meeting, they say, this is total bullshit. I don't agree with it. And you never knew about it. No. First hand on the right with his hand up. Even though he raised his hand last. So the E was sitting all the way down there, has to wait. And another guy is talking, another guy is talking. He's sitting there going crazy. I told him, write down what you want to say. Write down. Free the energy through your hand. Don't free it through your mouth. Because they need to free the energy. They're full with energies and they will interfere. They will start arguing with everybody. I said, you're not allowed to speak. You speak, push up until your time comes. In the meantime, free your energy by writing down. I will kill him tomorrow. He's an idiot. What the hell is he talking about? Write it down. Free the energy, but don't say a word. Shut up. And we are going to the right. Next. You call the person with his hand up by first name, not by last name, not by like this, you, first name, and not nickname, first name. Why? Here is a test. When you get upset at your child to go to sleep, how do you call him? By last name.
all three names.
Or the same name. And now you want to be official, you say, Mr. Adizes, I think it's time to go to sleep. I use the first name. And I found out from experience all over the world. When you use the first name, you cannot say it with anger. You can say with anger the last name, Mr. Adizes. You cannot do it, Ichak. People are upset, they speak. When the time comes to transfer the right to speak, they can't somehow, for some odd reason, go down in their voice and say Ichak. Wow. So you must use the first name. And I do it with prime ministers, guys, which is unusual to call the prime minister by first name. I say, sorry. I'm going to use the Israeli Air Force principle. When we have a meeting, no ranks. Everybody takes his ranks off, and now we are all equal and we talk. We don't talk by rank. So even prime minister, I didn't have any prime minister do push-ups yet, but the Minister of Transportation and Industry of Mexico did push-ups every minute, every meeting we had, because he was a sportsman and he liked to show, that he's a sportsman. He will come late and do push-ups in front of everyone, and everybody were clapping hands. Pass it to the first person on your right, first name when you finish. But if you say the name of the next person and you want to continue talking, I also wanted to say, push up. The moment you transfer the right to speak, shut up and wait for your turn until we come back to your circle going in a circle. These are the rules. The only guy who can break the rules is the integrator, not the chairman. The integrator. That's a person that is trained in the Adizes methodology. And if you like Adizes methodology, I encourage you all to take this course. It's called Integrators Training. Why? Because you have to follow a certain map in making a decision. And I'll tell you what the map is in a second. And people do not follow the map. They jump from New York to Paris, from Paris to Los Angeles, from Los Angeles to Miami. They're all over the place. And the whole meeting becomes a mess because they go in all different directions. So you have to control the meeting, the integrator. They follow the rules. And then if somebody starts to deviate from the subject on hand, you say, you're absolutely right. Let me write it on a flip chart. So we'll get back to it. It's not the right time. It's the wrong timing. So that way you're controlling the flow. So now let me tell you the flow. By the way, it's a 5 weeks, 5 days training. It is all on the internet. Strongly encourage you to take the course. If you like the methodology to go into clinical, take the goddamn courses. I found out the decision making. Please realize I'm emphasizing by raising my voice the word making. In other languages, it's not called making. If you translate it literally, in Spanish, it is decision, Spanish, French, Swedish, is decision taking, tomar decisión. In Turkish, is decision giving. In German, is decision hitting. So, wow, what the hell is going on here? There must be a reason for this differentiation. Okay. For me, decision making is cooking. We are cooking the decision. Decision taking is eating the decision. You cooked enough, now you eat it, you finalize. Interesting that they say decision making, yeah, go ahead, Yuziel.
Rules are not enough. Francesca, I can go do some push-up if you want. Rules are not enough. Well, listen, I know, and I heard all these rules, and I actually participate in many, and they're good and efficient.
What else is needed?
Hmm?
If rules are not enough, what else do you need? Tell me.
Well, in order to create trust and respect, you need to have focus on the common interest. If you do not focus on the common interest and all what you are dealing with are the rules, then you can go in rounds and rounds as many times as you want, but you miss the point.
Okay, look,
What about an agenda, Yoram?
just a second. Hold a second. I said to create mutual trust and respect, first you have to have a decision-making process that encourages and fosters and nourishes mutual trust and respect. That was one variable. You're jumping ahead with me, Yoram. The second variable is common vision and values. The third value is a functional organizational structure. And the fourth value is people that naturally command and grant respect for us. All the four variables. I was developing the third variable in detail. I to go forward with the other variables. I will. Let me finish with this variable first. Why? Because this is the platform. Once you know how to make decisions, then you use this platform, these rules, to develop a common vision and values. Then you use it to develop the right organizational structure. And then you use it to hire the right people. So I'm trying to show you the sequence, how you go about it. It's not everything, you're right. So let me finish with the decision-making process. And then I'll The methodology is so deep, I never can finish even in an hour and a half to even expose you. Look, you need decision-making process that nurtures mutual trust and respect, for which there must be rules we agree on. And people that break the rules, they lose the respect and the trust of the people. Like in poker, you're hiding a card, and then you show it, I don't want to play with you anymore. You're showing total disrespect. You come to meetings, you're on the iPhone all the time, on the computer, on the telephone, not listening to the meeting, interfering with the meeting, leaving early. What the fuck? How do you want me to trust you? How do you want to have respect for you? How do you want me to work with you? You know, forget it. So you have to follow the rules we all agree on. And I'm showing you some of the rules, you understand the depth to make it simple and why it's so powerful. The decision-making process, I differentiate from decision-taking. Decision-taking is when it says, get up or shut up. Finalize. Hit it on the nail, like in German. Hit it, done. Or delegate it, which means once you delegate it, like in Turkish, it's done. So what is the process? I'm going to go fast because you're right, and I'm losing my voice. There are steps in the decision-making process you have to follow. And in the next meetings, you can ask Nebojša to lecture to you about it because he's certified, he knows the methodology as good as I do. First step is called the freeze. What is the freeze? To get into the mood to make a decision. Usually our mind is somewhere else. You have to bring the mind what the meeting is. That's why we start the meetings with the question, how do you feel about the decision we are going to have? It forces you to bring your mind to where your body is. And I don't want to go deeper, you're right, I go too deep and then I lose to show you the big picture. Then we accumulate information. Then we analyze that information we accumulated and look for patterns. It's called deliberate. That is happening on the left side of your brain. Accumulate, deliberate. It is logical procession of the information. Usually you will get exhausted. You start to move from the left side of the brain to the right side of the brain, where you create. That switch from here to here is like switching rails for a train. You don't change rails rushing full speed. You slow down and you switch. That's called incubate. So you accumulate it, deliberate it, and you say, let me rest. In English, it's called let me sleep over it. In Spanish, it's called let me consult my pillow. In Adizes, we say let's go for a break for 10 minutes. You need to stop to regain energy to go to the next step, which is illuminate. Then you look at the patterns and how they're related to each other. You say, aha, I think I know what the problem is. Or, aha, I think I know what the solution is. Whatever decision you're making, it's called illumination. After illumination comes the oh shit experience. Why is it called the oh shit experience? Because you have to accommodate illumination. You say, yeah, it was a great idea, but it costs too much, but it is too early, but I don't know how to do it, but there is always a but after an illumination. A baby when it's born, I don't know whether you were in the room when your child was born, he comes out bloody, they have to wash him. An illumination idea is to be washed. By the way, it happens to you. You made a decision, you go to sleep, wake up in the middle of the night and start wondering, was it the right decision? What am I doing? You know, that's called accommodation. After accommodation comes finalization. Put up or shut up. Bite the bullet. That's not the end of the decision-making process. Most people miss the next step. It's called reinforcement. You look for somebody to reinforce your decision. So you talk to your wife, you talk to your friends, you talk to somebody. Say, I have this problem, is my solution. What do you think? They will look for reinforcement. And if the reinforcement is positive, you feel good, you keep going. Look at this, a freeze. And it goes like this. You don't know what to do, and you end up, you know what to do. The freeze, accumulate, deliberate, incubate, accommodate, illuminate, accommodate, finalize, reinforce. The problem is the different styles advance at different speeds in the decision making. This is decision making. Finalize is decision taking. But there's one more word in Hebrew. We don't say making, we don't say taking, we say accepting. Kabbalat Achlatot. You accepted the decision. That happens when you reinforce. You got reinforced, you feel good about the decision, you accept the decision. Different styles advance at different speeds. Type A usually gets stuck into accumulation and deliberation. It deliberates, says, I need more information. Deliberates, more information. The meetings always end the way they started. We need more information and more information and more information. And, oh my God, they're stuck in accumulate, deliberate, accumulate, deliberate. The type E, at the slightest provocation, what does he do? At the slightest stimulus, what do you think he does? Where is he? Francesca.
Illuminate.
Illuminate all the time.
Typical Israeli. That's why I'm looking forward going to Israel. I'm going to come back on a stretcher because they illuminate at the slightest provocation. You don't finish a sentence, they already know what to do and they already know what it is going all about. You know, they're very, very fast. Jesus, I didn't finish a sentence. They already know what I'm going to say and why I'm wrong. They illuminate because type E culture, by the way, not just Israeli, Jewish. Try to argue with a Jew and you see how difficult it is. They will always start in the middle of the sentence, they already know something better. They illuminate prematurely. They jump the gun right away. And then when you try to accommodate and you say, yes, but, say, I have another idea. Yes, I have another idea. They get stuck between illuminate and accommodate. And then meetings with type E, you have 30 priorities and ideas, not one decision. And type P hates meetings with a passion. What a waste of time. They accumulate, finalize, out. They jump the gun right away. They should first ask questions later. That is what creates conflict in a meeting. First of all, there is not a freeze. We start the meeting usually late, and then because we are late, let's hurry up, we don't have time. Instead of the freezing, we are freezing. Everybody's in a rush. The A starts. The problem appears to be, he did not finish the sentence. The E says, I know what we should do, guys. Come on, here is my suggestion. The A says, but that's not the problem. I have another suggestion. In the meantime, the P says, guys, let's finish and get out of here. We have work to do. And try to accommodate. Come on, guys, let's listen to each other. You know, oh my God. Everybody is at a different stage of the making process. Rules in Adizes. That's what you get trained as an integrator, how to do it. We don't start until we finish the physics. Everybody says, how do you feel? We're together. You brought your mind to the meeting. Accumulate. I have an idea. Shut up. Push up. Too early. We are still accumulating. All information on the table. Deliberate. What are the patterns? P pattern, A pattern, E pattern, I pattern. Incubate. Let's go for coffee, a cup of coffee, 10 minutes. Back. Look at the patterns. Illuminate. Next. Why not? Wash the baby. Adapt the illumination to reality. Accommodate. We do accommodation with the following trick, which is a very, very, very good trick. I recommend to you always. You divide the page to 3 parts. Upper part is called questions, lower part is called doubts, and the lowest part is called disagreements. So you read the illumination. Here is what we illuminated. Now let's accommodate. Everybody write down your questions, doubts, and disagreements about the illumination. Question means you're just looking for information. Doubt means I have all the information. I doubt that we are doing the right things. I feel uncomfortable in my stomach. That's good enough. Disagreement is I know it's wrong, and I can tell you why it's wrong. And as you read the illumination, everybody writes down the question, doubts, and disagreements. Then you accumulate all the questions, and we deal with the questions, and we accommodate the illumination to deal with the questions. We finish the questions, throw the page away, accumulate new questions, doubts, disagreements. Don't deal with the old page. New page. Don't deal with doubts and disagreements on the first page. There is a reason why. The next time you accumulate questions, you know what's going to happen? The doubts are going to go up and become questions, and the disagreements are going to become doubts. Again, deal with questions only. You finished, throw the page. New list, question, doubt, disagreements. You do it 3 times, I promise you, I change governments using this methodology. They could not agree day and night. By the time we finished, the coalition agreed. Can you believe that? They agreed. Why? No more questions, no more doubts, no more disagreements. Everything is cleaned up. Now we're ready to finalize. And finalize means you have to address 4 imperatives. What to do, how to do it, by when to do it, who should do it. What is this? It's a roll call that all the styles arrive. The P arrived, what to do. How to do it, the A arrived. The E arrived, by when to do it. The who arrived, the I arrived. So all the diversified style arrived to the finish line together. They will not split. So a decision taken should answer the 4 questions. What, how, by when, who. Then we reinforce how do you feel about the decision. Usually we get very good. Somebody might say, I'm not so sure anymore. Say, well, we'll discuss it next week. By next week, he already cleared up his mind and he's fine. So this is, I'm giving you 10% of the process. Just so you get the feeling. And what I'm trying to communicate here is, it is simple. The rules are very, very, very simple. But they're powerful because they've been tested in over 50 countries, different cultures, and there is a theory behind it. So it's not just, don't call somebody by last name, call by first name. There is a reason for everything. That is the process. There is more to the process, but I'm running out of time and running out of voice. Using this process, we have to define why are we here together. Now that we know the process, using the process so we don't kill each other, we address now a content question, not a process question. And the content question is, why are we here? What are we trying to achieve? What is the purpose of this meeting? When we do in a company, now let me tell you how we do organizational therapy. Organizational therapy in Adizes methodology is an interplay between process and function, structure and process. In other words, there is a difference between what is a strategy, what is a structure. Strategy, process is how and who. Structure is what and how. Systematized. And I claim that what exists in the field is incomplete. That's why it's not effective enough. Anybody trained in organizational development, you guys have a methodology which is even not liked. Many companies hate organizational development because you focus only on the process. You use only psychological tools to create teamwork. It's not good enough. It can end up in bullshit talk and playing games and saying, let's talk to each other nicely. It's only process. Consulting firms, on the other hand, err on bringing only structure. They ignore the process. That's why when McKinsey reorganizes the company, bloodshed goes through the corridors. People get fired, everybody's frustrated because they paid only to structure and not to the process of reaching the structure. What took me 50 years to develop is the interplay between process and structure. If you look at the book, it's called the 11 phases. And there is a line separates process from structure. And it goes back and forth, and sometimes you do both. Defining a mission of the company, why are we here, is a process. It's not a structure, it's a process. It's a function. It is followed by structure. How do we get organized to deliver our mission? And then you go back to process, strategy. Then you go back to structure. So it goes back and forth. So let me tell you about the process to do the mission. The whole group sits together, following the rules of teamwork, but they have to learn first and to practice first, usually by solving some small problems that the company has, so they feel comfortable with the process. Now that we can see that we can follow the rules, that we listen to each other, that we can work together, let's address a bigger problem. Where the fuck are we going? Who are we? Why are we together? That's what Yoram was talking about, common interest. Why are we together? Who cares? There to do this, and again, any one of you wants to practice Adizes, you have to come and be trained and certified. Otherwise, you will make a mess. Trust me. It looks simple, it's not. It's not simple. It's full with mokshin. What do you call mokshin in English? Yoram.
Landmines.
Landmines. When I go to work with a company, that's why I'm so exhausted. I was working with a company in Mexico. I thought it was going to be easy. 3 days. Again, when you go to work with a company with a decent methodology, not consulting, writing a report, organization development, talk to each other nicely. No. We're actually doing therapy right there on the floor. It's like walking to a field full with flowers, everything looks good. And bingo, you step on a fucking mine and it blows your body off. You don't know where the mines are. You don't know whose toes you're going to step on. So I'm exhausted. So you must have courage and high training to know which questions to ask. And in what, give me the key word here, and in what sequence. If you ask the questions in the wrong sequence, oh my God, it backfires. You might be kicked out of the room. And here's the first question to ask. What business are you in? And you have to have courage to ask that question. You have to have courage, because they're going to be upset with you. What do you mean? You don't know what business we are in? What kind of a consultant are you, We pay you so much money and you don't know what we do? I say, no, I don't. You have to have the courage. I did it with Bank of America, 1982. I had the board of the key players of the board of directors and all top management in the room. And I had the courage to ask the question, what business are you in? They looked at me like this. Don't you know we are Bank of America? I said, what is a bank? What do you mean you don't know what the bank is? I said, no. What's a bank? And you know what happened? By the way, my book called The Accordion Player, which is the story of my life, which has a chapter about Bank of America, is available for purchase. So if you want to pre-order it, it's available. Finally, my life story, how I developed the methodology, etc. What's a bank? Well, out of respect to me, to answer the question. We take savings for which we pay, we give loans for which we charge, and the difference we make money. 1982. That's called savings and loan. Bank, savings and loan. There was no differentiation. And then we analyze the environment. how changes legal, economic, technological, social, political are impacting savings and loan. And we came to some big illumination. Oh my God, we are dead. Proven a year later, the savings and loan industry went back up. Billions of dollars lost. Why? Because who puts money in savings? You have to be an idiot. There's so many other alternatives. Who takes money from a bank loan? You have other alternatives. So there's competition on both sides. But legally, they're not allowed to do that, to compete with them, but they're allowed to compete with you. So you guys are dead. And they said, oh my God, you're absolutely right. That's why we're losing market share. So what are we going to do? I don't want to go through the whole process. There's the manual, they think how to do it. They came to the conclusion. They came to the conclusion. I'm not the consultant. I did not tell them, stop this, do this now. So what are they going to do? They came to the conclusion. We have to be now in the financial services industry and charge fees for our services. That's what changed the banking industry in 1982. So anytime you pay fees in the bank, curse me. I made it happen. Now we charge any money transaction. Then we started a lot of services, trust services, private banking services, money transfer services, oh my God, services, charge for everything. We are not a bank anymore. We are financial services institution. Now ask yourself the question, what financial services you want to do? Give you another example. Porter Paint, a company from North Carolina. What business are you in? Dr. Adizes, are you making joke out of us? We're a paint company. I said, okay, paint company. Totally bad definition. Why? You're defining yourself by what you do and how you do it. And that's called the marketing myopia. An article written 40 years ago, Harvard Business Review. Marketing myopia. What marketing myopia? To define your business by what you do, how you do it. And he had an example at that time, 40 years ago, the railroad industry. What business are you? Railroad. So they compete in railroads. In the meantime, what was happening? Highways, trucks, jumbo aeroplanes with cargo, they were losing the market. Don't define yourself by what you do and how you do it. Define yourself by why you do it. So don't say we're a railroad company, we're a transportation company. Who else can satisfy this need? It's our competitor. So I asked them, why people buy paint? That's what the need you satisfy with your goddamn paint. Oh, we provide protective aesthetic surfaces. Say, good. Who else can provide protective aesthetic surfaces? Wallpaper. Say, well, guys, is a wallpaper competitor. So for sure you are. So what the hell are you guys doing? Look at the market by the needs to satisfy. Who else can satisfy the needs? That's the business you're in. So we have to redefine who we are. Based on that, what are the opportunities? What are the threats? How is the environment changing? Derive from that what I call open threats, opportunities and threats. Then look at your value system. Does your value system allow you to make the changes? Many companies know what they need to do. They know what is changing, but they're stuck with values. Values. We don't do things. We don't do this. We don't sell on credit, or we only sell on credit, or whatever is your value system. Oh, I'll give it to one. Oh my God, that will excite you to hear. I was invited by Northrop Aviation to consult. Northrop Aviation produces jets, and you, Steiner, you know the Phantom, right? They produce the Phantoms. So I was consulting to them, and when I asked them, what business are you in? Well, we produce fighter planes. And then we started talking about problems. You know what the problem was? The old Northrop, when he started the company, maintenance of aeroplane jet engines was not so good. So he made every plane with two engines. So if one engine fails, the other engine works. In the meantime, the world changed. Technology improved. And they still have two engines. And guess what? The United States Air Force does not buy their planes. They buy the General Dynamics, they buy somebody else's planes. Why? Because they don't need two engines. But we are stuck with two engines. So the only one who buys the two engines are the Navy, because they needed to land it on the aircraft, and developing countries that don't have good treatment of engines. It took me 6 months to change their value system. And by the way, Michael Steiner, you would like to know, I have in my bathroom, I have a picture of me in a G suit. They flew me on a Phantom 5 for 1.9 Mach and 5 Gs as a present. And thank you for changing the plane. One engine plane. You have to change the value system. They know what they need to do, but they're stuck with their values. So what do you need to do? Identify who you are. Identify what the threats and the opportunities are who you are. And what in your value system holds you back from changing. Change your value system. That is your mission. You're on disappeared, you're on disappeared. This is what you are now. Now pay attention to the word are. In English, we have continuous present with the grammar. Continuous present. I am going. Guys, I have bad news to you. There is no present tense. The present time is a split second between the past and the future. There is no present. It's a part of the past or part of the future. Too many companies start with their values, go forward with their past. And I force them to forget the past and go into the future. How? We don't say we will be a financial services company. We will be a one-engine aeroplane company. Forget it. Don't do that. I say we are. What does it mean? Today is the beginning of our future. Today is already our future. Today is not continuation of our past. Today is the beginning of our future.
It's an excuse. It's an excuse for not changing.
That's true. And now for you, the Israelis, what is your?
Yoram had to leave. He had another family or function that he had to go to. He wrote an apology.
Never mind. Do you know, this is important. If I cannot tell you already, what is the name of God? Did I tell you that already or not? Apparently not. What is the name of God? Do you know? Come on, Michael.
Sorry.
You don't know the name of God in the Bible?
Of course I know.
But you cannot pronounce it. That's why you're not.
That's why I'm not answering.
But I am not religious, I'm going to tell you. Yehovah.
Yes, I was going to say the letters without pronouncing it.
But now pay attention to something very interesting. I got a big insight.
Yehova.
When you put the letter Y, Yud, in front of a word, it means in the future. Hoveh means present. The name of God is make your future today. It really makes me all excited. The name of God as an order is make your future today. Start living today your future. Don't wait for the future to start living it today. Start
And
living.
this is you on a bad day?
Anyway, I'm very tired, I'm sorry. And would you believe it? I have to now get rest and run to get a big prize from the president of Montenegro for my consultation to that country. At 4:30, there are going to be 150 people and a lot of music and artists and the king of what is it, Knez of Montenegro is coming to give it to me the prize because the president could not come because of elections. So I'm a busy man.
Ichak, the reason I jumped on you is because I've studied with so many rabbis. I've never heard this explanation. It's so brilliant.
I created it, I invented
So
it.
chapeau to you, because we say in Hebrew, Mikol melamdai iskalti, And when somebody teaches you something that elevates you, the whole process is worth it.
Let me
Sometimes
give
you feel this way when somebody elevates you. Thank you.
a secret of why I'm successful to create all of this. Because I dare to think. All my blogs are just thinking. And I dare to be wrong. I'm wrong. So teach me why am I wrong? I can learn something from. Most people are afraid to be wrong because of their dare, they don't dare to think. I am free. You know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So what's new? Well, thanks God I'm wrong. So I learn something what's wrong, you know. I learn something what's right.
So in return, Ichak, I'm sending you the blessing of the priests, which we read recently. And it's not only for children or for your sons, it's for anybody who inspires you. So in return for what you just did, I'm sending you the blessings of the priests. May you have healthy and long years and blessings.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I sure need it. I came back from Mexico first in a long time. I slept 4 days nonstop. It is like when we were in the army, Michael, you went to be high, you know, for 2 weeks, and when you come back, you are dead. That's what happened to me. Wow, this client really squeezed me. Jesus. I had to change his whole orientation, value system. And I don't think I succeeded. 3 days changing his value system. The guy is running. Oh, anyway. So let me continue. So you always say, we are a financial services. We are a one engine aeroplane company. We are an aesthetic covering, protective covering company. What are you defined by the needs you satisfy? By the needs you satisfy. Then you look at what, by the way, this is my blog from yesterday. Read my blog from yesterday, how to define the corporate mission, it's over there. Then we look at the structure. A structure, you have several of my videos on how to build a structure right. In my books, I don't have to lecture it all. Bottom line, you need to build a diversified structure that reflects PAI. And now when you have the right structure with a common vision and values, and we start communicating with each other, respect develops. What about trust? Trust is a common value, common interest. That's the most difficult to develop. Because there are all kinds of values that protect you from doing that. You know, I'm claiming if you want to have teamwork, you should have a teamwork reward system. How can you have a reward system for individuals, but you want teamwork? Inconsistent. Because tell me how you reward people, I'll tell you how they behave. So we need to have a teamwork reward system. And my client of yesterday, it took me many years, finally got there. It's all the top management working together, they have the salary, a bonus for individual achievements, but the rest of it is profit sharing. Certain profits of the company goes into a pool for profit sharing to the people that build the profits. And now we have a common interest. The salary is below the market rate, below. With a bonus, you might get to the market rate. With the profit sharing, you're way over the market share, which means work together, produce results together, you will get more than the market. You don't produce together, the maximum can get the market. And now everybody is trying to work together. You have to create the reward system correctly, for which you need to have the right structure. So how do you do it? There's the methodology how we do it to introduce slowly, one step at a time, the reward system so that they are all working together. If you have the right mission, common interest, you have the right process that nurtures mutual trust and respect, you have the right structure of accountability so they don't step on each other's toes, and they have a reward system that encourages teamwork, you have most of it done. You have to do one thing more. People that comprise your organization leadership that you trust and respect. People that command and grant respect and trust. Some people do not do that. Whatever happened to them, their father screwed them up, their mother screwed them up, I don't care. They don't have it. They cannot show respect. They cannot show trust. By the way, includes me. I had a hell of a tough time showing respect because I'm a very big E. So I move very fast. It took me 30 years to be able to listen to people. So you need to get yourself surrounded by people that listen and show respect and trust. If you can develop them, fine. If not, get rid of them. They're the bad apple in the car. But I can't get rid of them. They're very valuable. They're my best engineers. They're my best inventor, my best genius. Okay? Put them in a cage. Anytime you need information, give them a banana, get the information. But don't let them manage anything. Give them a title. Chief Technology Officer. Chief Uha Muha. I don't care. Evangelist. Find the title that they like. Pay them what you think they're worth. Don't let them manage. Don't let them manage. Because to manage people, you must be a person who commands and grants trust and respect. These are the 4 rules that create mutual trust and respect. It does not happen by itself. And if it happens by itself, don't hold your breath. Unless you have a system to nourish it and to support it, to develop it continuously, entropy will set in and the mutual trust and respect will disappear. Like in guys. You know, that's why it's called the 7 years itch. It worked for 7 years and then now you're thinking, do I want to continue with this bullshit or do I want to get divorced? You have to nurture it, continuously nurture it, continuously support it so that it continues being there because change undermines mutual trust and respect. The more change, the faster we lose mutual trust and respect. And that's what's happening to America. Let me finish this by saying that. America is going down the drain now. Why? Not because people are bad, not because the president is bad, whether it's Obama or is it Trump or is it Biden. I don't care what the president is. There's nothing to do with the president. It has to do with the rate of change. The rate of change is so fast that we lose trust and respect for each other. And by losing that, we are losing the biggest asset America has had, a culture of mutual trust and respect. And I don't know how to stop it or whether we can stop this deterioration. Same thing for Israel. What's going to destroy Israel is the culture of lack of mutual internal trust and respect. And without internal trust and respect, there is no chance for external trust and respect. And without external trust and respect, there's not going to be a peace. And for me, it's only a question when we are going to pay the price. Henry, and then we have to stop. I don't hear you. You're mute.
Sorry, I pressed the space bar. I was supposed to unmute me, but it didn't do it. So I agree with you that the change is a necessary condition for mutual or as a necessary condition to lose mutual trust and respect. What I'm not certain is it sufficient? Does it by itself demand that you will lose mutual trust and respect?
What do you mean? Is that the only cause for losing mutual trust and respect? That's what you're asking?
Yes.
I don't think it's the only one.
No, I meant, my question is, does it require something else besides change in order to impair mutual trust, respect? There's something else. Is there another element with it that's necessary to achieve sufficiency?
The question shows that we are confused between input and output. Change causes lack of trust and respect. Now the question is, What do we need to do not to lose mutual trust and respect? Do we need to change in order not to lack of mutual trust and respect? That's what you're saying, right? I say, look, there is no way we can stop change.
Right.
Nobody has succeeded to stop change. Nobody in the history of mankind. So what do? We have to learn how to manage change without it being destructive. And that is Adizes methodology.
Good.
That-
Okay.
Years, and we succeeded to change companies of major size. The one that I'm the most proud of, my biggest prize, is a company called Wonderful, Fiji Water, 60% of the pistachio market. They are enormous. I worked with them from $12 million to $4 billion organic growth. The owner is still 100% owner. From 12 million to 4 billion. And if you look at our website, it says, thanks to Adizes. So we know how to manage change without destructive conflict. So if you want to learn it, you're welcome to come and certify it and be trained and certified. And by the way, Henry, everybody else, I'm looking for new associates to train to start working more again back in the United States. So anybody interested? By the way, you don't have to be full-time. Some people say, I want to practice Adizes part-time, but I still want to do what I'm doing as the CEO of a company. Fine, we'll do it part-time. So you can do it part-time. Because I'm actually looking for people to do it part-time. Because they're top executives, now I can show a top executive go to work with top executives. They're not someone who just graduated with an MBA, went behind his ears. So anybody wants to be trained in Adizes, welcome to the club. Guys, I thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to share with you my knowledge, my insights, I would say. And I will get back to you after I catch my breath.
You have a safe trip, Ichak.
Best up.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Nebojša, we'll talk. I need to talk to you, but not now. I will talk to you. Do viđenja, dragi moji.
Hope to see everybody next Sunday.
Okay, I will be there. Okay.
Continue, please continue. Bye bye.
Ichak, תרגיש טוב.